Amazing. We are now live streamed on YouTube. Pardon me, and on Zoom. For those of us who are joining directly, let me grab the YouTube link, Alexa. I'm going to share it with those people who are joining us. Let me make sure that we've gone live as well. I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to click the Start Webinar button so that we can do both things at the same time. And the webinar appears to be started as well. Webinar is such a horrible term. It's not a webinar, it's a call. So Alexa, if you wouldn't mind welcoming, we see a couple of people joining, Brawl, Konstantin, others. I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to tweet out that we're getting started.
Yeah, maybe we should rename it. Not a webinar, but live show. Or what else?
So I've called it a community call the last few weeks because that feels like more appropriate to me than a webinar, which just feels, I don't know, somehow incredibly inappropriate and demeaning to really what we're doing here. But yeah, if anyone in the chat has a fantastic idea for what we should call this thing, I would love to hear it.
When I'm looking at your beard, I'm thinking, yes, it is community something. But okay, let's start with the webinar. So welcome Ellen, nice to see you again. Welcome 3 times Arnaud, if I pronounce incorrectly, Pedant. Sorry if it is incorrect pronunciation. Banana Man. Who is Banana Man?
I'm not sure, but the best name ever.
I think it must be Eric. Is it not Eric that would eat a banana, but I turn into Banana Man?
Okay. Welcome, Brawl. Welcome, Brenda Martin. Brian. Konstantin Ilchanko, welcome. Christoph, nice to see you. Nikolai, welcome again. Robert, I'm always happy to see you on the webinar. Tanya, welcome again. How long? Welcome, Todd. Bobe, Odette Pont, Mathieu. Okay, I see many people are joining. You can watch us on Zoom, or if some of your friends don't have Zoom, they can watch us on YouTube. And you can ask questions live in Zoom or in the YouTube translation. Yeah, who is Banana Man? Interesting question. But okay, Banana Man, if you want to ask some question to me before we will start, please go ahead.
I think we're good, Alexa. We see quite a few people rolling in, both on YouTube and on Zoom. So given that it's a few minutes past the hour, I've just updated on Slack, which if you're not part of our ClickHouse community on Slack, you are always welcome. clickhouse.com/Slack is the invite. I've posted it to the community on Telegram as well as to our community on Twitter. The Twitter name is ClickHouseDB. I'll drop it in a couple of other places as well as Meetup, meetup.com/pro/ClickHouse. You'll find all of the events we have coming up, both online and in person. Fundamentally, 23.5 was an amazing release. 23.6 is an amazing release. I have worked at a variety of open source companies in my career that's been almost 25 years now. And there are a few companies where I've been as excited each month as we drive the release train forward as I am with ClickHouse. It's truly a privilege to not only share with you where we're going, but what we have done, and also demo what we have done live. And I've had a peek into the slides that Alexei is presenting, albeit not too long ago, and they're incredible. So with that, Alexei, if you don't mind, why don't we go ahead and kick off with what's new in 23.6?
Okay. By the way, I would like to make releases not every month, but maybe every week or even every day. But if I will do it, it will be just way too much. Amazing. So let's try to keep it every month. Okay, let me share my screen. So what's new in the release 23.6? This is our summer release. I will spend, as usual, like 50 minutes about new features, and maybe we will have 10 minutes for your questions. We have about 10 new features, 12 performance optimizations, and 31 bug fixes. So many new stuff. Let's start. What do we have? First is about function transform. So what is function transform? It has an argument, it has an array of source values, array of values to transform to, and a default value. And it will compare the argument to every value from the first array, and if it matches, it will return the corresponding value from the second array. Easy. And you might rarely will use this function transform as is. If you prefer to stick to standard SQL, you will find that it is almost the same as the case operator. And it looks similar. So you have one argument as what to transform, and you have some branches with values what to transform and where to transform. And I would say that until the current release 23.6, ClickHouse was actually a very bad database management system. Maybe you did not like it, but from the version 23.6, you will enjoy using ClickHouse, because now the function transform and the case operator has support for every data type, not just numbers, strings, and date times. Okay, what else? What about select into OUTFILE? In the previous release, we introduced the append modifier. So what happens if you insert into OUTFILE? If it does not exist, it works. If it already exists, it will give you an exception like file already exists. Consider using append or truncate modifier. And since version 23.6, we introduced the support for this truncate modifier. It will simply truncate the existing file and write the result. Pretty easy, pretty small change, but it is nice, it is useful. Why not to add it? And now we have it. What about processing of local files from the local file system? If you are using file table function or S3 table function or HDFS, whatever, any integration function that is reading a set of files. if some of files are empty, sometimes they will be processed without any problems, because if the files are in CSV, TSV format, or JSON each row, even row binary or native, empty files are not a problem. They represent a valid empty data set. So empty CSV file is just an empty table of unknown data structure. And it works fine. But the problem is that if you have empty Parquet or org file, it is not a valid file. It has to at least contain a header. But sometimes, for some reason, you have these empty files in your file system. So now we provide these options just to skip these files. Also, small and nice feature. Maybe you don't need it, but some of your friends will definitely need this feature, and your friend will be happy using it. Okay, this is more interesting. The possibility to rename processed files. With this small feature, you can build small and nice data pipelines inside just one invocation of ClickHouse local. So imagine you have a directory with a set of files, and some external application constantly pushing new files into this directory, just renaming, and new files constantly appear. And you want to process all of these files. Then you want to process the new files after 1 second, and process all the new files again after 2 seconds, and so on. And now it is possible just invoke ClickHouse local in a loop. With this option, rename files after processing. The value of this setting is a template with some substitutions like the original file name. And you can, for example, append some extension to this file. So in the next invocation, already processed files will be skipped. And you can do insert select into another table. So it will continuously consume this bunch of continuously updated files. You can specify some interesting stuff in this pattern. For example, you can rename with appending a timestamp of data processing, so it will be recorded. Or you can include a slash to rename files to a different directory. Everything will work. Let me show you some demo. First, I have to create these files, and I will just copy paste some comments to the terminal. Let me first create some Parquet file just for a demonstration. And I will do it with select into OUTFILE. It will automatically determine the data format, the structure, and I will start with something simple like a file containing just a single record with number 1. Okay, now I have this file. And I want to process it, and I will use just select. processing a local file is easy. Okay, it works. I can do it multiple times, but let's specify this magic new setting. Rename files after processing. And for the template, I will do something like this. Settings. One mistake. Okay, it works. What if I will do it second time? Okay, it will show that there is no such files. If I will do it like this, interesting what it will do. Oh, apparently I have some other files with Parquet name. Now I terminated this query, so other files will not be renamed. But let's look at this file. It is renamed. So it works perfectly. Let's look what else I can show. So this is a nice feature, but maybe it is quite limited. And I already have some feature request to the author of this feature to implement. What if we will extend it to work not only for file system, but also for S3 and HDFS? Why not? Maybe it will be the main scenario of data processing. You don't usually have access to the local file system. What about insert select? What actually this feature guarantees? Yes, it does have some guarantees. For example, if the command invocation is successful, it is guaranteed that the data was inserted into the destination table and the file was renamed. But if you get exception, overall, the operation is not atomic, and it is not specified what is the relative order between data insertion and file renaming. So there is a potential for improvement. Okay, what else? This is quite interesting feature for ClickHouse-client. It is about specifying where it should connect. There is a normal way specifying the connection parameters, like -- post argument, -- password, -- port, everything. And there is alternative way. Maybe not so normal, and I'm not sure if it is any better. It does not look better for me. But now you can specify everything as a single connection string, like this. User, password, host, port. It even has its own schema. The question is, for what? Why do we need this feature? Do you have any ideas? Because maybe I am wondering about why does it even presented in the changelog? Tyler, any ideas?
Yeah, so for me, I immensely prefer it that way. And that probably leads back to my DB2 days, where this was the way that I connected to a DB2 database from a silly little Solaris pizza box. But also Dale said maybe so you can override Boolean flags like secure. But fundamentally, this to me looks like the way that you use a client versus the --.
You said DB2. How old are you? Okay, don't tell anyone.
Very is the answer, Alexei.
Okay. Any other answers? You can post in the chat. Any ideas? Why exactly? What is the motivation for this feature, the actual need. Dale, maybe you have any idea?
Well, I can see how I would use it. Like I have, but I don't think it's why it's designed. I have a secure flag in my local ClickHouse config, and I want to connect locally to my local cluster. I can't turn off the secure flag, so I would just put in the full URL in this case. But I'm not sure that is why it's designed, but that's how I would use it, to override flags, which I can't override on the command line that are in the config.
Okay, actually there are two reasons. One is a wrong reason, and the wrong reason is that Postgres has it, everyone else has it, has this feature. But the actual reason we want to introduce and standardize this connection string, because many integration tools expect specifying connection parameters in the form of a single connection string. So if these tools require this connection string, why don't at least make some standard and support it in ClickHouse client?
That's a good point, Alexei. Just a shout out to Brawl, who mentioned it looks like a SQL Alchemy connection string. So they're already seeing the sort of similarity between that connection string and others. And I think that's your point, is that when third parties or integrations require that connection string, now ClickHouse Client supports it.
Okay, let's put it this way. Okay, this is probably more interesting feature, the possibility to specify the default time zone in the scope of session, or in the scope of query, or in the scope of a user. So it's available as a setting. So what happens if you do a simple query like select now? The function now, like any other function working with dates and times, it returns the date time data type. And the date time data type is represented internally as a Unix timestamp. The Unix timestamp is just a single number representing the number of seconds from year 1970 in UTC without coordination seconds. So it is pretty easy. And Unix timestamp does not depend on time zone. Whenever you are located, it is representing global time in UTC. Okay, but why do I get this value? Because we just print this Unix timestamp according to server's time zone. So if the server time zone is configured as UTC, you will not have any troubles. But what if it is configured as like US Samoa or whatever, Antarctica Casey station? You will get some other representation of this date time. And you can specify this time zone explicitly. You want to print this date time in Los Angeles time zone, you will get it. But now you can also set up this default session time zone as a setting, and it will be used by default in every date time function. Pretty easy. And maybe it is just yet another way to confuse yourself with time zones. But let's imagine you want to confuse yourself, and now you have all the means to do it. Okay. Integration with MongoDB 5.1 plus. What is the matter with MongoDB inside ClickHouse? We have integration with MongoDB. We have it for years. And it works nice. It always worked. It is available like MongoDB table engine and MongoDB table function. And it worked until one day they changed the protocol. In MongoDB version 5.1, they simply broke the integration with every old driver. And we had to catch up and support the new changes in the protocol. But now we have tested it up to MongoDB version 6. So it will work probably until they will change this protocol again. What about performance optimizations? There is so much performance inside ClickHouse. So where to get more and more performance optimizations that I have to present in every new release? Let's take a look. And the first is what you will probably find useful for your production use cases. It is about the famous too many parts exception. If you insert data into ClickHouse, everything is perfect, but you think, can I insert this data faster? And you start to spawn many clients to insert data in parallel faster. Or you increase the number of insert threads. And the data is inserted faster and faster. 1 million records per second, 5 million records per second, 10 million records per second, until it will give you too many parts exception. It will say merges cannot catch up with inserts or something like this. And obviously you don't like it because you will have to restart your data pipelines. You will have to figure out what part of data was inserted, what part of data was not inserted. It is not convenient. But actually, we have to ask, what is too many parts? How many is too many? And it is controlled by the settings, parts to delay insert and parts to throw insert. And in the previous versions, the default value of the setting parts to throw insert was just 300. So you get 300 unmerged parts, and you will get this exception. Is it enough? Should we increase it? Should you increase it? It's an open question. Also a question, should we perform some sort of back pressure, like slow down already running inserts? And to answer this question, we have to look at these graphs. So what do we have on these graphs? Here I have an experiment with continuous insert of 400 billion records with 4 concurrent connections on a single server with a speed of 7 million records per second, with continuously running concurrent select queries for real-time user-facing dashboards. And here is a graph of number of parts for partition. It is mostly stable, but slowly growing up to 600 parts. And the graphs of select query latency. And you can see that the correlation between these graphs are almost 100%. So as many parts you have, the quantiles, the timings of query select queries will increase almost proportionally. Actually, these timings are pretty good. So even if you have 600 data parts, you still get less than 150 of median latency, less than 200 milliseconds of 90% latency and 250 for 99%. So the decision is that maybe we should actually increase the default value from 300 to 3000, because why not? Because adding just 1 0 should not harm, right? And also we should enable back pressure for long-running inserts. If you do this single insert for 400 billion records, instead of interrupting this insert, maybe it should just adapt for the merging speed. Maybe it should slow down a little and continue to work. And we want to find optimal parameters. And I think that in version 23.6, we are slightly closer to this goal. What else? What if you have 5,000 replicated merge tree tables on your server? And many people asking us, we have 5,000 tables on my server, all of them replicated. Why do I have significant CPU load? Why do I have constant network traffic to Keeper or Zookeeper? Why do I have so many requests to Keeper? And we usually answer it. If you have 5,000 of tables with the same data structure, you should not. Convert all of them to one table with a primary key containing some identifier like client identifier, advertiser identifier, website identifier, whatever. It's better to have one huge table instead of 5,000 small tables. Maybe it is just some old, outdated practice that you get from your experience with MySQL. And in ClickHouse, one huge table is nice. But we continued to answer, you don't need 5,000 tables, don't do that. You are doing it wrong. And we answered it. And finally, we started to think, why don't optimize it? Let people just use it, whatever they want. Let they abuse ClickHouse, but ClickHouse should always work. So we have optimized it. And now, if there are a lot of inactive tables without inserts, they will not overload CPU, Keeper. They will back off their background threads. And now it is fairly practical to have several thousands of replicated merge tree tables. We still don't recommend it, but it is not so bad. Keep using ClickHouse, don't worry. What about low-level optimizations? We have a new optimization for sorting, for order by. It applies if your data is not sorted, not assumed to be sorted. If it does not have the corresponding sorting key, but for some reason, in some blocks, it just appears to be sorted. And now we detect it and process it faster. Let me show you. It's interesting how faster. And let me find some queries to copy, just to copy paste. Okay, let me try running a query in the previous ClickHouse version 23.5. I will use ClickHouse local and I will just copy paste some example query So this query will order by number, but not just a number, but it's string representation. So it is almost already sorted, but not quite. And I will pick up 100 million numbers and try to sort almost all of them. 90 million and pick up 10 next numbers. Okay, let me run. How fast it will be? How fast this query can run? Any ideas? Tyler, Dale, your answer. How fast it should be?
Very.
Very fast. Yes, this answer is correct, but it is the old version, not the new version.
It may be imprecise. It's still accurate.
Dale, your bet.
Couple of seconds, 2 seconds.
2 seconds. Do we have any ideas in the chat? How fast this query will run?
Yeah, in the chat, we have 2 seconds from Mustafa. We have minutes from Kafir. We have 100 milliseconds from Banana Man. I'm checking the YouTube chat because it's slightly delayed. Yeah, nothing new in the YouTube chat. So looks like it ranges from milliseconds to 2 seconds.
Okay, I expect we'll run this query and it will go bananas. .2 seconds. Not so fast, by the way. Let me just in case run it again. Yeah, Redis Table 3.2 seconds. Okay, now we will test the new version 23.6. And it is just ClickHouse local. I have compiled it on my machine. And what do you think the difference will be?
We're seeing answers like 100 milliseconds, very fast on YouTube, 200 milliseconds from another person. So it seems like the math is hard, right? But it seems like the 3.2 seconds becomes 100, 200 milliseconds, etc.
So the answers are very fast and very, very fast. Let's check it. 2.8. Yes, it is faster. But I think it is more like very fast than very, very fast. And we still have to optimize it because you said it should be 100 milliseconds, 200 milliseconds. We are not there yet.
It's a good point, Alexei, and shout out to some of the folk on YouTube who are watching along, who have actually called that out almost precisely: 2.5 milliseconds, 2.8 seconds. So, yeah, shout out to those who saw the improvement, but not quite yet where we want it to be.
Okay, and by the way, you have a gift from ClickHouse. So tell us, just write, send me a message on Slack, and we will send you a gift. Okay, what else did we optimize? Reading from Parquet. And you might ask me, what, you optimized it again? You already optimized it 2 months ago in the release 23.4, but what else? And if I recall correctly, it was already optimized 100 times. But it was optimized for reading from S3 and URL. But now we additionally optimized it for reading from local files. If you read from a single file, it improved 2 times. If you read from a partitioned file, no, the other way around, partitioned files, the improvement is 2 times. And from a single file, it is 4 times. Okay, let me show you a demo just to check. Maybe it will be not 4 times. We always have to validate our own claims. So let me check it. And somewhere I should have a file. Not here. And not there. Interesting. Where do I have this? Let me just create this file. I will run ClickHouse server. And I will create this file, and let me create it with 10 million records. By the way, reading from Parquet is fast, but writing is not so fast. Okay, 5 million, 6 million, 7, 8, 9. Okay. Now we have this file, and let me use ClickHouse Apple for reading. But first I will run it on the old version. How fast this query should be? I don't know. Let's check it. Yeah, it is fast. 0.2 seconds. But what if I will use the latest version? .0 seconds. Who knows arithmetic? We need to divide two numbers to calculate. So 0.05 and 0.239. So it's, yeah, 4 times. As promised, perfect result. Okay, what interesting do we have? Some flagship features, something unusual. Integration with Redis. So we already have integration with Mongo, but why not with Redis? Actually, Redis was already available as a dictionary source, but now we also have this integration as a table engine and table functions. And you can just read everything from Redis, like full scan, read by a key. You specify a primary key corresponding to the key in Redis, and you can just query by this key or by a set of values. And it has support for select, insert. You can join with Redis tables, and it will do lookup requests. You can even update and delete Redis table. So what else? Maybe we need to support some custom data types in Redis. If you want to suggest some feature request, please write in the chat. And maybe there will be a chance it will be eventually implemented. Okay, now another feature, but it is a secret feature. it is a secret feature because it has a chance to be in the release 23.6. We are preparing this release right now. And this feature is not yet even merged. So maybe it will be in the release 23.6. Maybe it will be only in the next release. And I'm not going to present every detail about this feature because who knows, maybe I will have to present it on the next webinar. And I don't want to do it twice. But it is named Overlay Databases. And also, there are file system database engine, S3 database engine, and HDFS engine. And what do you think what it is? Interesting if you can guess. Why do we need overlay databases? And what is especially nice about this feature? So it is like one of the main features of this release or the next release. What is it for? And why do we need it? Tyler, may I ask you? Overlay databases. What is nice about it? Tyler don't want to answer. Dale, maybe you want to answer. Please help Tyler to.
It's Tyler, but I think I might have to take over for Tyler. He's not feeling very well. I don't have a good answer. There's some from the community. Somebody asked, is it a replacement for zero copy replication?
No, it will be too good to replace zero copy replication. No, overlay databases is something very nice for usability. Something that will make your life easier. And I don't want to tell about this feature. I want to keep it in a secret. And if you will not guess, I will just skip it. Okay, let's keep it as a secret. What about integrations? Now ClickHouse is supported in Confluent Cloud. You can just go to this whatever Confluent Cloud, whatever it is, and find ClickHouse connector there and use it. If you want to manage your infrastructure, now we have official Terraform provider for ClickHouse Cloud. So you can create services, you can start, stop, scale, resize, whatever, destroy services if you don't need them, everything. Everything that is configurable, also configurable with API and with a Terraform. What is new in ClickHouse Cloud? Now, GCP support is generally available. So it was in beta just a month ago, but we did not find any obstacles. We did not find any issues. And now it is not beta, but production ready, generally available service. And another interesting feature is a dedicated tier. So if you are going to use ClickHouse Cloud, sometimes you might ask, is it a multi-tenant service? What is the isolation? And sometimes you want your services to be completely isolated on a separate machines. And now we have dedicated environment specifically for this. It has advanced options for the choice of this configuration. For isolation, you can control for upgrades. So you might say, I don't want upgrades anytime except Sunday night. And we will do upgrades on Sunday night. for you. You might say, I don't want to upgrade until I will ask you. And we will not do this. It has additional options for fast storage, for low latency requirements. So dedicated tier is not for everyone, and this is not something we provide by default, but for someone who really needs this, will find it useful. What about community features? So what it is? chDB with such a nice logo. chDB is an embedded OLAP SQL engine powered by ClickHouse. It is a library, and it is available as a Python modular, as a Rust, Go, Node.js, and even BUN library. What is BUN? Something for JavaScript, like Node.js, but better. And now it has support for ClickHouse, and you can get full ClickHouse engine embedded into your application, like ClickHouse local, but not as a separate binary, but directly linked into your whatever you do. And it has full features supported by ClickHouse, so you can query external data sets, local files, you can query data lakes, you can request external ClickHouse, and it works even on pandas data frames. Looks pretty nice, and it also reminds me about some other project. Okay, something even more interesting, urleng.com. What it is? Unlimited ClickHouse URL tables like a paste bin for SQL and JSON data. Sounds interesting. Let me try. Oops. It's moving. What it is? And such a weird design scheme. Batteries included, native on Edge. Actually, my browser is slightly slow when I open this website. And there is something like try it. And if I will try it, it will do well something. So interesting engine. But apparently it is just an experiment, just a demo, and you can pipe your result sets, pipe your tables into this service from a random guy from the internet, and hopefully it will work. And then you can just pipe this data back for whatever reason, just to share, exchange some small data sets. What else? If you want to show your integration on our webinar, send us a message, connect on Slack, and you will present it on the next webinar. You can show a live demo like 5 to 10 minutes about something interesting, something weird, something unusual. Okay. What about some new materials from our blog? There are plenty of interesting articles, and I hope you did not miss them. The articles about how to choose the best join algorithm, how to subscribe to Postgres for change data capture, how to do real-time streaming with ClickHouse and Kafka Connect, and even how to use ClickHouse for AI. Because apparently ClickHouse is the perfect database for AI. you might not know that, but it is. It is the best vector database. It can work with embedding for semantic search and more. What about meetups this summer? Summer is typically the season of vacations, but not for us because we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 meetups this summer in different locations. 4 in North America, 2 in Europe, and 1 in Southeast Asia. So see you on one of these meetups. Okay, now we have about 5 minutes for questions.
Time was asked for I take these, he's still not feeling great. Alexei, so just on the overlay databases one, a lot of people are asking, you piqued people's curiosity. Can we say that it's an overlay database for file systems, similar to like a file table engine, basically for a set of files? Would that be the right guess?
Yeah, this is exactly correct. So there are new database engines like file system and S3. And these database engines allow to represent a bunch of files in a directory or on S3 as a bunch of tables. So you don't specify a table or you don't have to use table function for every file. You just specify, you just create database and every file is instantly visible. And if you have, say, one CSV file, one JSON file, and whatever Parquet files, all of them will be automatically detected. The data format will be detected. Data structure will be detected, and you will have these tables. But what if you already have tables with this name and you want to just overlay one database on top of another to like shadow the existing tables if these tables are also present in another database. Then you just specify overlay of different databases and it will work. Okay, not sure if it was clear, but I hope you get.
Yeah, I think next month maybe we'll do a demo. I think it's probably people have got the gist, but I think it's obviously it's something that probably needs a demo. So maybe 22.7 it will make it for sure. There was a question in regards to IAM authentication, the S3 table function. The answer is the work's done. We just need to document it. That was for Sergey, so that was just a quick answer for him. It's supported. We just haven't documented it. Do we have any plans for the replication database to work for all tables rather than requiring the user to specify one?
Yeah, interesting. And for replicated database, it is not so easy because it is expected that every table in the replicated database also be replicated. If you use a replicated database and create something like memory table and insert data into this memory table, it will be inserted just on a single server. And this is definitely not what you need. But if I'm not mistaken, there is a way to specify the default table engine in the replicated database and to specify the default parameters. And then you can just create a table and it will be automatically replicated, like what we do in ClickHouse Cloud. So if you try, probably you can reproduce this behavior on your own.
Okay. Any plans to making Mongo connection work with Mongo secure connections? So that's MongoDB plus SRV. Do we have any plans to support secure connections then?
Interesting. Doesn't it work already? It is a surprise to me. I would expect that it should work. But okay, if it does not work, let me count it as a feature request and we will figure it out.
Okay. Yeah, I suspect they mean Mongo supports more TLS, SSL TLS for secure connection. So I think it might be some, but we should definitely confirm that. Anything else? Our final one. When do we expect the join query analyzer to? When do we expect the query analyzer to start improving join speed?
Let me not tell you any specific dates. It will be quite unfair to my colleagues that are currently at this point of time working on this feature. If I will say it is expected to be delivered in August, they will think, wow, we did not know. If I will say we expect it will be at the end of next year, they will think, okay, let's not do anything. So let me also don't tell you about all the secrets that we have.
So it's sometime between August and next year. That's a nice wide, but we are working on it. The final one, if I can find it, is if we are making optimizations for relying on detecting sort order, does it make any sense to sort data on a sorting key before insert into ClickHouse, assuming that key is probably not already part of the primary key already, which we would exploit? So if you had one key in your primary key and one column in your primary key and you wanted to sort by a different column, would it make any sense to insert data in your sort order?
You can sort your data before inserting into ClickHouse, but you cannot do it better than ClickHouse. So my recommendation, just specify the order key and let ClickHouse do everything for you, because you cannot sort data faster. Don't even try.
And that's a good note to end on. So thank you for everyone. Hopefully Tyler's feeling better. And goodbye for now. And Alexis, do you want to say goodbye? And we'll see you in 1 month.
Thank you. See you.